Hello, friends. Today I will be discussing leadership, systems thinking, and the future. The biggest lesson that I learned is that organizations cannot be managed by looking at individual departments. Open systems theory teaches that organizations continuously exchange information within their environments. Inputs, processes, outputs, and feedback all work together to influence performance. One concept that really stood out was the feedback loop. Through this course, I repeatedly saw how customer feedback, employee feedback, and environmental changes all influence organizational success. Another important lesson was environmental scanning. Organizations that stop learning eventually fall behind. I realized that leadership isn't about fixing isolated problems. Instead, effective leaders ask, what part of the system created this problem? Rather than asking, how do I fix today's issue? I learned to search for patterns, leverage points, and interactions between people, technology, and organizational processes. This systems mindset completely changed the way I evaluate organizational performance. Throughout this course, I used Netflix as my case study. My research began by mapping Netflix as an open system consisting of inputs, processes, outputs, and feedback loops. I then analyzed how customer experiences with advertising affected the larger organizational system. As the course progressed, I expanded the project to include VUCA leadership, innovation, sequence mapping, media purchasing, and finally, a strategic organizational change proposal. What began as a simple systems diagram evolved into a complete strategic leadership framework. One practical example of systems thinking is my proposal to redesign Netflix's advertising platform. Instead of forcing advertising on every viewer, I proposed allowing subscribers to personalize their advertising experience. That single change doesn't just affect customer satisfaction, it also influences advertising effectiveness, business analytics, customer retention, and future revenue. This project helped me understand how one change can create ripple effects throughout the entire organization. As I move into future leadership roles, I want to become the type of leader who looks beyond immediate problems. Rather than making decisions in isolation, I want to involve multiple stakeholders, encourage collaboration, and create systems that continuously learn from feedback. I also recognize that today's leaders must be comfortable leading in uncertain environments. VUCA has taught me that resilience comes from adaptability, not from having perfect information. Professionally, I plan to continue applying systems thinking throughout my doctoral studies and my work in marketing and in higher education. I also want to continue learning about artificial intelligence and how AI can improve organizational systems and decision making. Long term, I hope to teach future marketing leaders how to use systems thinking to solve complex organizational problems instead of relying on quick fixes. This course has fundamentally changed the way I think about leadership. I now understand that organizational success depends on understanding relationships rather than isolated events. The application of force field analysis by Lewin is the perfect example of a tool that management can use to take a macro approach to evaluating business scenarios holistically. Systems thinking provides leaders with a framework for navigating complexity, encouraging innovation, and building resilient organizations. As I continue my career, I intend to apply these principles by encouraging collaboration, using feedback to guide decisions, and continuously adapting to changing environments. My challenge to future leaders is simple. Don't just solve today's problems, understand the system that created it. Because when leaders think in systems, they create organizations that can learn, innovate, and thrive.